Today I'm going to be repotting some Costus, specifically Costus phoenix, which is a spiral ginger. So come join me. Also, I want to spend a little time just talking about the difference between a spiral ginger and a true ginger. Hi, I'm Elise. I'm glad that you stopped by. Look at this little bitty pot and this great big plant. It is so overgrown that it won't even stand up by itself anymore. My fault for not repotting it sooner. Costus phoenix. I've really become enamored with Costus. Now, I've been growing gingers for years and years and years and years, and I have been growing a version of the Costus for years. But until I really got to looking and really got to researching it, I really didn't understand that a spiral ginger is not a true ginger. Now, they are in the same order. They are in the Zingiberales order, but different families. This genus is Costus and the variety is Phoenix. Beautiful plant. It is a hybrid, but it's still a beautiful plant. It's not going to get really, really big, 3, maybe 4 feet. Fun to grow, puts out a beautiful brach. And as I've been researching it, I've just been amazed at some of the beautiful brachs that Costus put out. If you get a chance, pull up some of the images of various Costus. Really nice. They clump very well. They are on rhizomes. You need some moist, well-draining, rich soil. A really nice thing about this particular variety, it will flower off and on all year long if it's happy. So that's going to be cool. Hasn't flowered yet. I hope that I'll be able to get it repotted, get it established, get it happy, and have time for it to flower some before we hit cold weather. I'm in zone 9B, so we do have an extended growing period. It is cold hardy. It's one of the most cold hardy gingers that you can get. And that's spiral gingers across the board. Nice. So let's go ahead and repot it. Before I do though, I want to show you just a little difference in spiral gingers and regular or true ginger. I am going to go ahead, put the camera down a little bit, pull this out. Very root bound, because I want to be able to move this around just a little easier. May have to come in here with my clippers and separate this. Grows on a rhizome, so there may be just one big rhizome down in here that all the stems have come up. It's so much fun when you can't see what you're doing. So I'm just going to go in here and clip. There we go. Lay that out of the way. I have a roots and I have a nice big section of the rhizome, so this will be fine. Look at the pretty red color. Now, a spiral ginger. It gets its name because the leaves spiral up like a circular or spiral staircase. So you just start up and you go around and you go around and you go around and you go around. Really, really neat. Where a regular ginger can be alternate shaped leaves. They can be opposite leaves. And you have a little different configuration in your leaf pattern from the spiral gingers or the Costus and the regular or true gingers. Very pretty. I really like this spiral configuration of the leaves. Another thing about spiral gingers is they can propagate a little differently. Now, most gingers you only propagate via the rhizomes. Spiral gingers, you're supposed to be able to propagate from stem cuttings. Now, I have planted the Costus woodsoni for years now, but I've never really tried to do stem cuttings. This year I did, so can't wait to see what they do. But stem cuttings, which you can't do on regular gingers. Neat, fantastic way to increase your plants. And since some of these are absolutely fantastically gorgeous, you'll want to increase your plants. All right. I was given just a little strip, smaller than this in diameter or circumference. And you take it and you just lay it down on the soil, lightly cover it up, and it will put out new plants. This is the Costus African Princess. And look, I've already got 2 new little plants coming up. Neat. All I did was laid that little stem down in some soil, lightly covered it up. That's it. I do have another one planted, the Costus Pina Colada. It's not doing anything right now, but I hope it goes ahead and starts setting out new stems. I'll let this stay in this pot until they get several inches tall. And then I can go in, cut the stem apart, and plant both of these out in their own pots. So not only can you just lay a stem down horizontally and let it grow that way, you can also cut your stems and just plant your stem vertically like you would plant any plant. How neat. Big difference in spiral ginger and a regular ginger. Greatly can increase your plants for you. I'm gonna put this out of the way. I don't want to disturb those little stems. All right, so this is ready to go into its own pot. Now I only prepared some trade gallon pots. And I think after I look at this, well, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the trade gallon pot. Now, how deep you want to plant it is about at the same level that it came from. Definitely want to cover all your roots, all your little piece of rhizome. And I am going to plant this just a wee bit deeper since it is so large. If this doesn't hold it, I will go ahead and move it up into a gallon or a 2-gallon sized pot. Make sure you make your label. Now, Costus Woodsoni does go dormant in the wintertime and loses all of its leaves. Since this is a new plant for me, I do not know if it's going to go dormant and lose all its leaves. So that's why it's critically important that you label, especially if you are putting them in pots. If you put them in a pot, it goes dormant, you're just stuck with this pot of soil. I can't remember them, perhaps you can. So I'm going to have to finish filling this up, water it really, really well. For the first few days, I'm just going to keep it in a light shaded area. Lots of gingers, both spiral and regular gingers, prefer shady areas. But I will move it out then just a little bit more to get some indirect bright light and see if it will go ahead and bloom for me. So that's it. I'll backfill this and away we go. Going to move those 2 gingers down. Another thing, difference between a spiral ginger and a regular or true ginger is the spiral ginger does not have all the aromatic oils that a true ginger has. Now I did alcohol my clippers before I started, and I'm going to take these leaves off here that look a little sunburned, probably because the pot kept falling over and laying on its side. So, big differences in spiral ginger and true ginger. The leaf configuration. The leaf configuration on the spiral ginger walks up the stem like a spiral staircase. Neat. They do not have all the aromatic oils as regular gingers, and they propagate by stem cuttings and the rhizome. Just a few differences. They're both beautiful. They both make beautiful bracts. Again, take some time to look at some of the images. Now, I could take a water hose and rinse this off, or dip this in some water and have a little better idea of where I need to cut. And voila! So, let's see. Coming in here, I'm going to make a cut here. That takes that nice big section out. Lots of roots left on it. Nice piece of rhizome. This one will definitely go into a gallon-sized pot. And the more I'm looking at this one, I'm going to take it out and also put it in a gallon-sized pot. Going to go in here. And that little leaf fell off. I am going to plant it because it does look like it still has a little rhizome on it. Sometimes, but not always, sometimes you can just wiggle them a little bit and they'll break at a natural point. That one's not. I'm going to cut some of that old rhizome off. Then I'm going to go in right in the middle. You can also use a knife. Okay, I have nice stems. I have a nice piece of rhizome. I have, nice roots. I have nice roots and a nice piece of rhizome. And here is a little piece that fell off. I might plant this also. It has roots and rhizomes. It doesn't hurt. I'll just stick it in the same pot with something else. So I'm going to prepare for at least gallon size or maybe 2 gallon size pots to put these in. That is just too small. Sometimes you don't know until you actually get to playing around with it. And then you can decide what size pot you want. Very pretty. Can't wait to see the bloom. Isn't that nice? There's several hundred varieties of Costus. There's over 1,600 varieties of gingers. And I figured it out one time. If you planted a ginger every day, it would take you a little over 4 years of planting one ginger every day to get all the different varieties. But it might be fun. All right, I'm going to go get my pots. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little bit about Costus, how easy it is to divide them up. I'm going to repot them again. Make sure the root is in the soil. Make sure the whole rhizome is in the soil. And I will probably try to come up about 1 inch. You don't want to plant most rhizomes very, very deep. But since these are already such tall plants, I'm going to plant them a little deep. I'm not going to cut these stems off. You can cut the stems off and start all over. But since this particular variety is supposed to bloom off and on all year long, I want to leave the stems. And if I can get it over the stress factor of being divided and being repotted, I might get some flowers. Another thing that I will do after I get them potted up is I'm going to put them in my little plant spa, which is nothing but a container that has a weak solution of Epsom salts in it, about 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. It's a little pot I have, a little container that sits over by my potting bench in the shade. And I will put the pots in there and let them sit and just soak up that Epsom salts. That will help them with the stress because Epsom salts is very high in magnesium, and it will help the plant relax. Then I'll take them out and put them in a nice little shaded area. Talk to them really nice and see if they'll grow and give me flowers. If I get a flower, we'll come back and visit that. Until then, have a fantastic day.